Welcome to Private Club Radio, your weekly source for industry education, news and discussion. Broadcasting from Tampa, Florida, ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Gabriel Aloisi.
Hey, episode 92 is here. I know you were waiting for it. Thanks for being here once again on Private Club Radio as we're nearing the 100th episode. We're going to do something special for the 100th episode. We're going to have Mr. Rick Coffey, who is a frequent contributor to this show. He will be hosting the episode. I think he's got some cool things in store for us, so you're going to be wanting to look out for that one. If you have enjoyed this show over the course of now nearly 100 episodes, I would love it. I would just love to hear from you. Wherever you are in the world, I would love to hear what you think about the show, what you've enjoyed, who your favorite guests were, what your favorite moments were, what you hated, all that stuff. I would love to hear it. And there's a really cool way that you can participate. You can go to privateclubradio.com/inbox and leave a voicemail right from that webpage. All you have to do is have a computer with a speaker on it, and you can leave us a voicemail right now from wherever you're at. So would love it if you'd visited that, privateclubradio.com/inbox, and participate in our 100th episode. We're going to have a ton of fun. All right, well, I am rather freshly back from Nashville. It was now about 2 weeks ago that I was in Nashville, Tennessee at the Professional Club Marketing Association's National Conference. As always, a wonderful time was had by all in Nashville. Rick Coyne and his team put on a wonderful show for everyone. And I had the pleasure of doing a pre-conference education. So on the Sunday before the official start of the conference, I did a one-day seminar called the Digital Marketing Bootcamp. And I've been told, can't verify it myself, but the conference organizers tell me it was the highest ever attended pre-conference education of all time. And I just thought that was so cool. I had such a great group, and that's what really made it fun and special for me is I had a wonderful group of private club professionals from all over the country, some really good talent in that room. We had such lively discussions and just had so much to talk about. It really made it a joy to be there that entire day. And it's tough standing on your feet 7-8 hours talking, and it was all worth it because these folks were just first class. So if you were in Nashville at the Digital Marketing Bootcamp and you're listening to this show, thank you so much for being there. And I just really enjoyed having you, really enjoyed giving that class. Thanks to the PCMA for putting on the conference and inviting me. It was really nice of you to give me 8 hours in a room with people. That's kind of scary, but we made it through. All right, awesome. Well, today we have just a fantastic guest for you. I'm going to be joined by Alison Root, and Alison is the editor of Women and Golf magazine out of the UK. And I always love chatting with our friends across the pond because they've got a unique perspective. They do things a little bit differently over there in the UK and in Europe. And I always enjoy having them on the show. If nothing else, I just love their accent too. It's a great accent that they have. So Alison is going to join us and we're going to have a lot of fun there. While we're talking about the UK, if you are listening to this and you are in the UK, I am coming your way in just a couple months. At the beginning of December, I'll be attending the Club Leadership Summit, going to be doing some live private club radio from there. And rumor has it, they actually are going to let me speak as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. If you are attending that conference, I would love to see you and shake your hand and meet you. And I think I'm going to try to slip down to the London area and see some of our friends that have been here on Private Club Radio. Guys like Leighton Walker at Burford, and I would love to get to Goodwood and see Eddie Bullock and some of those folks. So if you're in the UK, hit me up. My email's gabe@privateclubagency, and I would love to see you while I'm over there. If in any way I can make it happen, I certainly will, because I appreciate all the support that this show gets over there in the UK. Well, without further ado, let's bring on our featured guest. My guest today is Alison Root. Alison has worked in the golf industry for almost 20 years. She started her career at the Times newspaper, where she gained an in-depth knowledge of the industry and the publishing world. She was also the publishing editor for Business Golfer, a quarterly publication of the Business Golf Corporation. She has experience managing national golf events, and she's currently the editor of Women in Golf magazine, which was established in 1991 and is the UK's biggest selling bi-monthly female golf title. As a leading voice on women's golf, Alison is seen on national TV throughout the United Kingdom and is also a voice on key matters of the game through national radio. Alison, welcome to Private Club Radio.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
It's such a pleasure to have you here, talking over satellite here today. Let's talk about Women in Golf magazine first. Can you give our listeners an overview of the publication if they've never come across it yet?
Yes, as you mentioned, it was established 26 years ago now. So a lot has changed in golf since those times, and it's a bi-monthly publication. And we also have a website as well, and it just caters for everything the female golfer needs to know about golf. So that might be the current news, features, equipment, where she wants to travel, and all the issues surrounding the game.
Yeah,
and so host events,
not just about professional golfers, but even just about women golfers that are amateurs.
Yeah, it's club from club level through to tour players. So it's just focuses on everything really. Everything female golfer needs to know.
Yeah, I was browsing through the website and some of the online versions of the magazine, and it looks really impressive. You like you mentioned there, covering all sorts of things from travel to equipment to what's going on the ladies' tours, and it's really there's quite a breadth of information.
Travel is a big thing now in golf, and actually we're bringing out our first travel supplement called the Women in Golf Traveller.
Nice.
Because the men's titles do that. So it's a case of, girls are on tour now as well, and they like to travel. It's a big part of golf. It's a lifestyle. So that's coming out. A supplement is coming out with our next issue in October next month.
That's fantastic. That's excellent. Yeah. You don't hear about many ladies' golf trips. You always hear about the guys taking a golf trip and maybe the wives come along to shop or something. So that's changing. That's good. That's good. That's great.
But this will probably come into the things we're going to talk about. Why men don't think that women play golf.
Right.
Maybe I'm saying that quite so soon, but
no, that's perfect. So let's talk about that. So what is female participation in golf like in the UK right now and around the world? What are you seeing as trends?
Yeah, it's a question that I'm asked all the time. And when I knew that I was coming on to talk about this, I mean, over the years that I've talked about participation, all the issues surrounding the women's game, breaking down barriers, and that's not just here. I know it happens, in the States, in European countries, probably not so much. And I remember going to the PGA show in Orlando in 2012. And that was when Jack Nicklaus was there to launch Golf 2.0. And that was talking about, it was a goal to increase participation from 27 million, that's what it was in 2012, this is world over, to a number of 40 million by 2020.
That's aggressive.
Now, that is impressive. I'm not quite sure where we are with those stats at the moment. However, I remember at the time, women golfers were a big focus of that goal, because women are still seen as the hanging fruit. Sure. That it's a market that hasn't been tapped into. And that's, though, then when we go on to think, well, why hasn't it been tapped into? Why aren't there more women playing golf? And now I kind of am sort of going back to the UK. And that, of course, is because of all the traditions that we've had in the UK, the home of golf, but being perceived as a gentleman's game, and that women weren't encouraged to play. So it really comes from the clubs and just breaking down those barriers, which is happening now. It has happened. It's some clubs aren't as good as others at moving with the times, but slowly but surely that is happening. But there's still a lot to be done. Just more women want to actually play the game.
I got to think that also happens at the youth level, right? That's kind of where it all starts. We often see these youth programs at clubs, and I don't know if it's the same in the UK, but definitely here in the United States, if I go to my local club or clubs around me and look at the youth programs, it's pretty well dominated by boys from what I can see. Would you agree with that? That it needs to start with the youth?
It is that there are more girls playing, but again, I think it comes back to women and girls generally aren't exposed to golf. That's the problem. Golf is still very much a closed shop, and it's still perceived as very much, in many ways, an exclusive sport. I believe that if you haven't been born into a family that plays golf, or then you mature and you have a partner that plays golf, it's these behind these gates. It's like, oh, that's golf. You're in the States. You've got the LPGA tour, and which is shown very, on TV. But over here, we don't get the TV coverage, as much TV coverage as we'd like. So from that point of the media, women aren't seeing the sport enough. There's not enough exposure. And actually, on that subject, I mean, a couple of years ago, Women in Golf commissioned Sports Marketing Surveys Inc. to carry out some research on our behalf. And this was talking to 3,000 participants, this male and female, for us to try and get an understanding of what, if anything, was wrong with the game and the attitudes of the converted club members. And one of the surprising things was that most of the men and women think that single-sex clubs should be banned. Great. But saying something like that, those men are saying that, but acting on it is different, because over half of them have never encouraged their female partner to play golf. So you look at that and you think, well, what chance have their daughters got?
Right.
Because if they're not encouraging their partner to play, and with that in mind, over half the men who have sons from that research, just 12% of the men who've got daughters, they don't encourage them to play.
Wow.
So so that's, in answer to your question, that's probably why you don't, because it then goes back to the men aren't encouraging their female partners or wives to play.
Yeah, there's a disconnect there, it sounds like. Yeah. How do you bridge that gap? Do you have any ideas there then?
Well, the big push in the UK is family golf, because if you look at the female markets in other European countries, they are flying. And today I was looking at the KPMG golf participation report for 2017. And in Germany, the top 5 markets in terms of total number of adult female golfers is 222,000, just over, in Germany. Wow. And then you've got the Netherlands, 126,000, Sweden, 118, France, 113, and then England, 90,000. So looking at those figures and those countries, we are lagging behind.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Given the number of courses and the size of the countries. But in a lot of those countries, they join as families. They don't have men's sections, female sections, and it's all just very disjointed. And I think, the different findings that we've done, and different research, different initiatives, and women it's not rocket science. Women would just like to be introduced to a golf club, be made to feel welcome, and mix in with their husbands, with their children, because lifestyles have changed. Golf clubs are different to what they were 20 years ago. It's not somewhere where gentlemen might go and play golf and the wives are at home, or the wives just go up and play bridge, and right. It's different now. People want faster formats. They want flexible memberships, and if their time is of the essence, they want to spend time with their family.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
That's why it needs to be an inclusive sport.
Are there a couple clubs there that are doing that well, where they're doing these family memberships you're talking about?
Yes, in the UK, the more recent clubs that have been established, understandably, they are doing well, because they haven't been established with all the traditions that traditional golf clubs have had.
Right.
So that they probably have had equal membership from the beginning, because we've had that the big equality issue, and then of course there was the Muirfield saga, not allowing women, and now we've overcome that. But but I do say as well that a lot of the women are their own worst enemies, because nobody likes change, and at times they can be very short-sighted. And I don't blame them, because they've probably been a member of a certain golf club for a long time, and they like the way it is. They like the way that they have maybe a 5-day membership, and they go up and they play. They have their golf during the week. They don't want to mix in with men. But really, I think the way forward is we should have no single. The membership should be the same across the board, and everybody should mix in.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about, that's a good lead into the next topic here. I know you have some thoughts on what women actually want out of a club membership or out of their golf, and finding ways to understand that. What are some of your ideas, Alison, in terms of what actually women want?
Well, the other way is how we learn the game. And I don't know if you've heard the teaching concept called Love.Golf.
I haven't, no.
Now, this is a gentleman called Alistair Spink, and he was working from a club in Ipswich in the UK. And this is being rolled out now. And I know he's working closely with some people in Sweden. And when you learn to play golf, generally you have to go to a golf range, or you have to go to a little par 3 course, because you cannot possibly learn to play golf at what I would call a proper golf club.
Yeah, it's scary to just step on the first tee box.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that, and I understand golf. We never want to take away the rules and the etiquette of the game. However, this concept is very much that the program involves a group of women coming along. They've never hit a golf ball before, but under supervision, at a quiet time on a golf course, they go out with the pro and just, here's a club, here's a ball, this is what you do. So they get a feeling of the whole experience, walking a hole, rather than being on a golf range, hitting ball after ball after ball.
Yeah.
And my analogy of that is, if you go to join a tennis club, you aren't asked to have a 100-stroke rally before you go onto a tennis court.
Right.
And women want a piece of the action. And I understand that. If you're a sporty woman and you think, yes, I'd like to give golf a go, they don't want to spend hours on a driving range and then being told, no, you can't go on the course yet, you're not ready.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm not, that's just an example that came into my head about how maybe women need to be taught differently. They like to be taught in groups.
Yep.
I think golf clubs generally, for men and women, need to be many of them more welcoming. I would say that often women go to golf ranges and the top golf centres with their children and families, and they will have a good time, but that transition, because they've been allowed to go there wearing jeans and just being very casual, and it's a lot of chat going on, so it's fun. And then they walk into a golf club and then they see the honours boards and they see the trophy cabinets, and it can be daunting. So that I just think that whole atmosphere just needs to be made more fun. Yeah. Golf clubs are very much, don't do this, you can't do this, you can't park here, you can't go on the course yet.
Yeah, it's a bunch of don'ts instead of a bunch of do's, right?
Exactly.
It's hard to enjoy when there's a lot of rules.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's lots of different, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of hard work over here, and we've got lots of different initiatives going on. But I mean, Women in Golf are the media partner for the International Women's Golf Day.
Nice.
That Elisa Goudet, who is an American, she set that up. So we're working with her because, from what I understand, the same problems occur in the US as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody is trying to drive women's golf. So there's no reason why there shouldn't be more women playing. certainly in the US and in the UK, if countries like Germany can have 222,000 golfers,
Yeah.
I think England should be able to get more than 90,000.
Well, in studying what Germany's doing, what are they doing differently, or is there any other tips that you could give to clubs that are listening to this?
Yeah, listen. Every club is different, and even the program that I mentioned, Love.golf, that wouldn't work everywhere. But I think you've got to be open yourselves up. The clubs need to open themselves up to change, and whether some clubs still have slots for women to play, cater for those women. You might have more working women nowadays. More women do work, but that doesn't mean to say they might not want to play golf.
Right.
So I think it's just being flexible with tee times, more welcoming generally. And as I say, that's to both sexes, and encouraging family time, family golf. Whether that's mixed tournaments, social events, just so that these people can come along to golf clubs, and it is a really big part of their lifestyle. Yeah. Because golf club memberships are dwindling. There's no question of it. Mm-hmm. But then obviously that I'm grouping clubs together, but because there are many that are doing incredibly well. And it seems to be most of them that are doing very well. Yes, of course, you've got the famous and the established clubs that will always be full of members. But, some of the more established clubs that aren't prepared to perhaps make changes, mm-hmm. Then that probably leads us on to the dress code.
Yeah, sure. Well, before we get to the dress code, I want to talk about even just the way golf is in the instruction that takes place. I was actually really happy to see that at my club we have an assistant now who's a lady.
Yes,
and I think that's great because it seems like anytime you walk into a club, the head pro is almost 99 times out of 100, if not more, going to be a gentleman. Mm-hmm. And are you seeing clubs that are successful actually take on some female professionals in their business?
Yeah. There are female instructors. Again, not as many as there are men, but there are, and there are a lot of good female instructors around. In Women in Golf, my instruction pages, they are all women instructors in there. And yes, of course, the clubs that they are associated with, they understand. They will put on events where it's, come along, doesn't matter what you wear, come in your jeans, play, get to understand the sport, mm-hmm. Then have a glass of wine afterwards. It's all the social side as well that is important.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, the wine and nine groups they do here, they call it wine and nine or something, and those are always really popular.
Exactly. Yeah. Women like to enjoy themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jeans, that's pretty avant-garde, wearing jeans on the course. I've never seen that happen. But I guess people are doing it out there as well.
Yeah. Listen, it doesn't happen a lot, and I'm not saying that I encourage that, but I would say that if somebody is coming along for a lesson or they are just starting out, don't hound them as soon as they walk in the clubhouse and say, "I'm sorry, you can't wear jeans." Yeah, because that will put them off straight away.
Well, the clubhouse, I'm all for a relaxed dress code in the clubhouse. I thought you were just saying like when they were actually playing, they were playing in jeans.
Yeah, no. Sorry, not often. But I think if there's a practice ground and somebody comes along, but not actually on the course, but even on
the driving range or something.
Sure, there are some clubs that would frown upon that.
Sure. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
By just probably if they haven't got a relaxed dress code policy, probably if that lady got out of the car in the car park and she had jeans on, she might be told.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah.
So she would have been put off before she'd even picked up a golf club.
Yeah. Now they're thinking of actually changing the dress code on tour. Is that correct?
Yes, they have. The LPGA made an announcement a couple of months ago, and again, I didn't agree the way it was done because again, it was very much you cannot wear racerback tops. You cannot have your bottom showing. Not that I agree that they should have their bottom showing, but it was all very much, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. And a lot of this stems from the clothes, as an example, that Michelle Wee wears.
Okay.
Which doesn't have a collar. The racerback shirts, very athletic looking.
Right.
Now, yes, and you're saying great, and I think great because I think she looks absolutely amazing. And it's a tricky subject because there's no right or wrong answers. But I think that if women's golf has made any advancements at all, it's in golf fashion, because the clothes that are produced now are fantastic, and they aren't just to be worn on the golf course. You can wear them afterwards, going shopping, going for a drink. So they're more versatile. Now, not everybody can wear the same clothes that Michelle Wee wears and some of the other girls, because they haven't got the figures to wear them.
Sure.
But I just see it that surely if they were sensible, then if I wouldn't go to my ward, I wouldn't buy them because I know I wouldn't look good in them.
Right.
So you'd like to think that the other girls on tour would be the same. Again, I know there needs to be boundaries, and maybe I've heard that on the Symetra tour, which is the feeder tour in the States, a lot of them, the clothes that they were wearing were really short. Whether they were short shorts or short skirts, or their cleavage was showing. And I think probably the LPGA is trying to nip that in the bud.
Right.
But I just feel it was the way it was done. The other objection to that is when we're talking about growing the female game, growing participation, though the females like Michelle Wee are who the kids look up to. They aspire to people like that. Now, and they're kids. They want that fashion. So then but unfortunately, this is where there is this big divide, because they see the girls on tour wearing clothes like that, but then at their own golf club, they've probably got to have a skirt or a shorts a certain length. So that's why I don't know. It's just confusion, really.
Yeah, it needs to be translatable. That okay, these are the people that I'm looking up to, and this. Why can't I dress like that, or vice versa? Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Yeah.
There's the whole thing with jeans in the clubhouse. I mean, I suspect that there's more golf clubs in the UK that have committee meetings over the dress code than anything else.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I really think it just gets back to
club, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know your thoughts, but to me, it depends on the culture of the club. If the culture of the club is a, more relaxed environment, kind of your home away from home, then why not? But if the club is, very, business culture or something like that, then yeah, maybe you want to have some other standards. But I think every club's got to answer that for themselves. That's my opinion anyway.
They have.
Yeah.
I just think now that people go out socially in very smart jeans. So
sure.
And you can pay a fortune on a pair of very smart jeans. So not to be allowed to wear them in a golf clubhouse in this age is silly.
Yeah.
Really. But there was another story that I heard. Somebody that I know, he's got two daughters that play golf, and the younger daughter did very well in a club competition and won the competition, and everybody was standing around at the prize giving, and the lady captain went up to give her an envelope. So her father thought, oh, that's nice, a voucher or something, and it was to tell her that her skirt was too short.
Oh, jeez. Yes.
So what does that? You see, they just do things in the wrong. People do things in the wrong way.
Right.
Now, I mean, that's just an example, and I'm sure there's lots of stories around like that. But when it comes, that's not helping us encourage juniors to play golf.
Right.
So
no, not at all.
But at the same time, in the UK, I know there's a lot of great initiatives going on to get to get. There's a really good England golf initiative called Girls Golf Rocks.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. And they have the ambassadors of that program are the leading elite amateur girls. So they participate and oversee them on certain days, which is great. And that's really been doing well, and that's growing in every county. And for us, we've got Charlie Hole, one of our good junior, she's not a junior, or the pro player,
Mm-hmm.
and Georgia Hall, who's been doing fantastic now. So that can only help.
Nice.
But it's just getting golf out there and the encouraging the exposure of the game to women and girls.
Yeah. If there was one or two pieces of advice you could give to private clubs out there to really become more welcoming or to encourage participation, what would they be for you, Alison?
For me, I would say, I think it comes back. It comes back down to the membership, and when you join.
Mm-hmm.
I think that whole joining process, when you actually approach a club, and you want somebody to take you under your wing, but to talk to you and just if it depends. If you're joining as a single lady, which I'd like to think there would be more of them that do that, but that doesn't seem to happen that often. That they enter the club and then they are made to feel welcome by the whole ladies section, because unfortunately, and this is life, whether it be golf clubs, tennis clubs, hockey clubs. People can be cliquey. So and a lot of these ladies have been members for a very long time. So that's why I'm saying we're struggling for female golfers in this country. Clubs are. So you need to open your arms and just welcome them,
mm-hmm.
and take them out and tell them what they can get involved with. That would be one part of advice. Get them, introduce them to the club pro. So then they feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's that whole thing of, even now there are some clubs that I walk into and I think, oh, should I be wearing this or where do I go? And there's often nobody there to say, oh, hello. It's a simple, it's not.
Yeah, it isn't rocket science.
But we're used to our golf clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I try and look at it as a beginner. I just think, God, if I was walking in here, I wouldn't feel particularly comfortable at whatever place that might be.
Right.
So that's the big thing, really.
Yeah.
And to get good instruction. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent on the instruction side. Like I said, obviously the swing for a lady is different than a man, and so you need someone who can communicate that properly.
Yeah. The other thing I do think clubs need to do is to introduce fun formats, because that's a big thing now. All of the 9-hole stuff, 9-hole formats, foot golf is becoming popular over here.
Yep.
As we've said, the 9 and wine, all of that type of thing. And we've even just recently had the speed golf championship. People want to play quicker.
Yeah, that's cool. How long was the round for that? What was the winner's round time?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Was it
under an hour though, or?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, definitely under an hour. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I met a guy. He's actually the owner of Mission Hills out in China, the big complex, and he says nobody likes to play with me because I guess what he does is he hits the shot and runs to the neck to his ball, and that's how he plays. He plays jogging and running.
Oh, yeah. No.
But it's good exercise at the same time. I was like, I'll try to do that with this.
Yeah. So that's the other thing golf clubs need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, well, do we just always have a mixed competition on a bank holiday, or do we introduce more mixed competitions, more 9-hole formats, more just things to liven up the club?
Right. I was just
to make it more modern.
Yeah. Yep.
And I do appreciate it's not easy, because I think people will be listening to this thinking, but our club isn't like that. And I know that. And I know there are so many that are fantastic golf clubs. And a lot of them probably don't need to change. But we're talking to those clubs that might want to sit back and think, well, actually, yes, that might be a way of us introducing a new generation of members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, very well said. Absolutely. And, it's, if you keep doing things the same old way, that's you're going to get the same old results. So it's time to get creative and think outside the box there on some of these issues. Well, before we wrap up, I just want to tell people definitely visit womenandgolf.com. That's the website of Women in Golf. And if they want to get a hold of the magazine, how do they go about doing that, Alison?
Yes, that's available on the website as well. And you can just subscribe rest of the world. So it's not, of course, we do distribute predominantly in the UK, but it's you can take out a worldwide subscription. So, but just that's all available on the website.
That's fantastic. If folks want to reach out to you, Alison, directly, can they do that? Is there a specific way they can get in touch with you and find out a little bit more about what you do?
Yes, they can. Happy for them to email me at alison.root@womenandgolf.com. And my Twitter feed is at AlisonRoot1.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, definitely check out womenandgolf.com. It's just a wealth of really solid information there. And Alison, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom about women in golf here on Private Club Radio. You were a pleasure to talk with today.
Thank you very much.
All right, another great one here on Private Club Radio. Hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. Hope you subscribe to Women in Golf. It's a wonderful publication. Definitely check out their website. Filled with all kinds of good stuff there. That's going to do it. Don't forget, 100th episode's coming up, and make sure to leave a voicemail for the show so you can be here on with us on the 100th episode, privateclubradio.com/inbox. I'll see you next week, and until then, here's to your membership success.
Private Club Radio is brought to you by the Private Club Agency, the premier marketing and consulting firm dedicated to helping clubs increase and retain their membership. Visit privateclubagency.com to learn more.